We're always looking for some kind of operating manual for life, right? We search for it in self-help books, maybe in philosophy, but what if one of the most elegant and practical guides was actually a legal document? Seriously, today we're diving into the Swiss Civil Code, which is basically a rulebook for life from start to finish.
So let me ask you this. What is the legal rulebook that shapes your life? For the Swiss, the answer is this code. And let me tell you, it's way more than just a dry collection of laws. It's this fascinating operating system for an entire society, a blueprint for a person's entire journey through life.
Now, before we get into all the specifics, life, love, all that stuff, the code does something really remarkable. It kicks things off with one single, powerful, overarching idea that guides everything else.
And here it is, Article 2. Every person must act in good faith. This isn't just some dusty legal requirement, it's the philosophical heart of the whole thing. It sets a baseline of fairness, of integrity, of mutual respect. It's the code's way of saying, right up front, look, the fundamental expectation here is that you're going to be decent to each other. Pretty powerful, right?
Okay, so with that principle of fairness locked in, let's start where every life does, at the very beginning. How does the code actually define the moment a person legally exists? And when do they get the power to act for themselves?
The whole journey starts with something called legal capacity. Article 11 says that from the moment you are born alive, boom, you have it. This is a huge deal. It means that even a brand new baby can, say, inherit property. The code recognizes them as a full-fledged legal person with rights from their very first breath.
But, just having rights is one thing. Actually using them is another. The code lays out this really clear path. Step 1, at birth, you get legal capacity. Then, as you grow up, you develop what's called the capacity of judgment, which is really just a fancy way of saying you can think rationally. And only when you've got both of those do you get the full capacity to act, the real power to sign contracts, make decisions, and steer your own legal ship.
So what's the magic number for all this? Well, according to Article 14, it's 18. That's the age of majority. It's the moment when, as long as you're capable of rational thought, society officially hands you the keys to your own legal life. You're in the driver's seat.
All right, so now you're a full legal person. What happens next? Well, the code steps in with some really strong protections for your core identity, for your freedom. Let's dig into what that actually looks like.
Now, this is so interesting. Check out Article 27. It says your fundamental freedom is non-negotiable. You literally can't sign it away in a contract, no matter what you agree to. Just think about that for a second. The law protects you from your own decisions if they go too far and compromise your basic liberty. It's like a built-in safety net for your personal freedom.
And that protection gets even broader. The code talks about safeguarding your personality rights. Now that's a big concept, but it basically covers your core identity. We're talking everything from protecting your reputation to keeping you safe from harassment. It even gets as specific as protecting your right to use your own name and, hey, to change it if you have a good reason. It's this comprehensive shield for your legal self.
Okay, so from the individual, the code naturally moves on to how we connect with others. Let's take a look at how it lays out the rules for one of life's biggest commitments, marriage.
And here you can really see the two sides of the coin in the eyes of the law. On one hand, you've got the promise, the ideal of marriage built on loyalty and support. But on the other, you've got the practical reality of divorce, with a super clear, almost mathematical rule for splitting up pension benefits. So the code gives you a framework for both the hopeful start and the orderly, if difficult, end.
And speaking of that orderly end, Article 114 makes the process of divorce surprisingly straightforward. If you've been living apart for at least 2 years, either person can file for divorce. That's it. You don't have to prove it was somebody's fault. It's a really modern, pragmatic approach that kind of acknowledges that, sometimes things just don't work out, and the law should provide a clear and dignified way forward. Of course, life isn't just about our own rights or our romantic partnerships. It's also about what we do together. So how does the code let people officially team up to chase after common goals?
Well, the code basically gives you two main vehicles for organizing, the association and the foundation. An association is all about people. Think of a book club or a local sports team, a group of members with a shared, non-commercial purpose. A foundation, though, is built around assets, money, property, you name it, that are dedicated to a specific goal, like a scholarship fund. So it's pretty simple, really. One is people-powered, the other is asset-powered.
And the code doesn't just say, here are these two things. No, it gives you the whole instruction manual. It lays out all the rules, from how members of an association vote to how the government keeps an eye on foundations to make sure the money is being used right. It creates this clear, reliable structure that actually empowers people to work together effectively.
And that kind of brings us full circle, doesn't it? From the second you're recognized as a person at birth, to protecting your identity, to forming relationships, and then banding together in groups, this code provides a clear, logical rulebook for just about every major stage of life.
So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. If a country's legal code is like a mirror, reflecting its deepest values, what does this one tell us about Switzerland? To me, it screams fairness, order, personal responsibility, but what else do you see in there? And maybe, just maybe, it makes you wonder, what does the legal rulebook in your own country say about you?